Today's video is about everyone's least favorite part of the knitting process, frogging. And if you can see on the side of the video here, a little scrungly ear, that is because Ghost is sitting right by my camera and probably causing, oh, yep. Don't do that. Don't do that, baby. Okay, I had her on a table, but we might have to put the camera on the real tripod because I think Ghost is going to cause problems. Okay, we're on a tripod now. Let's try that again. So yeah, today we're talking about frogging. So I have a couple projects here that I'm just gonna bring it down a tiny bit. And now here comes Ghost. I can't get anything done. You want to sit on my lap? You can sit on my lap, but you have to let me knit. Or you could sit on your wool blanket. So I have a couple projects that I are either, well, two of them are finished. One of them is still a whip, but, well, two of them were finished. One was never finished. It was always a whip. And I just wasn't loving them. So I decided to frog them partially and make some adjustments. And I'm gonna walk you through that process. So I have here, I've already started on it. So I've started reknitting it, but this, and I've talked about this one before. This is my Simply the Vest, my original Simply the Vest with the crew neck, knit in Plies and Hellhounds Revival DK. And it's in this main color, this sort of pinky brown, is called Gable. And I had two skeins of it, and that I got at Indie Untangled a couple years ago. And I knit the whole vest. I used a different yarn for the contrast hems and collar because the two skeins was just enough to finish the body and the bottom hem. So I used a different yarn, and I just didn't like that yarn. It's this like brown. And it's just not, I just don't love it. I think the brown is too flat. I think if it were like a heathered brown or just had a little more depth to it, it would be fine, but it just wasn't working for me. I never even wove in the ends because I just didn't even like it enough to properly finish it. I did block it and everything. And I do have, I'll throw in a photo of it, still with the ends not woven in, but otherwise finished. But when I was at Woolworks in July, I was vending across from Gabby from Plies and Hellhounds. And I hadn't really thought about this project in a really long time. Like it had just been sitting on a shelf and I just like wasn't even thinking about it. But looking at all of Gabby's yarn, I was like, oh, I should get back to that vest. And then I thought, oh, I should just buy the same yarn. I should buy another skein of the Revival DK in a contrast color to finish the hems and everything. So I went over there, I was looking at colors. None of them were really speaking to me. There were some nice like browns that I thought would work, but I didn't want like such a bold contrast. You are really a menace. I wanted something a little more subtle. So I actually ended up just getting another skein of the Gable colorway, which you can see I've caked up here. The lighting's bad today, sorry. It's like late, the sun is going down, it's like 6:30 or something. So the lighting is really bad. Sorry about that. But you can see, hopefully you can see, the colors are like not the same at all. Which is great because that's what I wanted. I wanted a contrast, but a subtle contrast. So that's exactly what this is. This is, so this is the same colorway, but it's 3 years later, I think. So it's not the same exact, it's not the same dye lot, and it's not gonna be the same exact colorway. That's how small batch dyeing works. So I ripped out the ribbing at the bottom. The ribbing at the bottom was in this same colorway, the Gable. It was not a contrast. But then I found, like when I tried it on, the vest was just like a little tiny bit shorter than I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be like an inch or two longer. So I decided to rip out the ribbing, the 1x1 rib, and I'm gonna knit to the end of the original color that I had, which is just this little ball. in stockinette. So I'm going to continue the stockinette body until I run out of yarn, basically. And then I'm going to knit the bottom hem with this other colorway, or same colorway, different dye lot. And then I'm going to rip out these brown collar and hems and reknit those in the new dye lot as well. And I think it'll just be a lot nicer. It'll fit better. The fit will be better with it being the proper length. And I just think I'll enjoy the color more. So that's my first project that I'm working on. I'm already working on it, as you can see. Ghost is helping. Hey, baby, let's not chew on that yarn. Ew, the yarn's all wet. Ghost kind of drools a lot because she doesn't have any teeth. So when she chews on the yarn, it gets really wet. It's so gross. So yeah, that's the first project I'm working on. I should say today is the 20th. Today is the 20th of August, and I am just starting on these mods, these little frog it and fix it projects. In my head, I'm like, oh, I'm going to finish these in the next couple of months. I probably won't. I start so many projects and then never finish them, which actually you'll see in my last project that I'm going to talk about today, my unfinished whip that I kind of gave up on. So my plan is to have these kind of done in a reasonable amount of time. This one I kind of want to wear maybe for festival season this year. So I kind of am more motivated to finish it on time. You are just being, what if you sat up here behind me? You like to sit behind me because then you can still be involved. Maybe she'll settle, but oh God, it's so wet. Girl, just sit down. No, of course not. So yeah, I'm a little more motivated to finish this one quickly. And then my next one, I also kind of want to have to wear for festival season this year. I'm anticipating that it's going to be warmer than it was last year. I'm thinking this autumn and winter season is just going to be a lot warmer than last year. Last year was a La Nina. This year is a super El Nino. So I don't think we're going to get the frigid temperatures that we got last year. And I think the autumn season is just going to be a little bit warmer. So I'm thinking for things like Vermont sheep and wool and Rhinebeck and those kinds of things, it's probably going to be a little warmer, especially in the afternoons, like throughout the day. Like in the mornings, it might still be chilly enough for a sweater, but I'm planning on layering and having some vests and tank tops and stuff like that to wear when it gets warm in the afternoons. So that brings me to my next project. This is, can you see it all? I can throw in a photo of me wearing it. This is a version of my Simply the Best V-neck pattern. So as you can see, it has a V-neck. This was my second sample, and I actually did not knit this one by hand. The Simply the Best V-neck is a hand knitting pattern. I wrote it as a hand knitting pattern. My first sample was hand knit, but I wanted to see if I could do the same thing on the machine. So I kind of rewrote it a tiny bit. The hand knitting pattern is top down. Most of my patterns are top down. This I knit from the bottom up, and it's in two pieces. So there's a seam right here along the inside, if you can see. There's seams along both sides because it's knit just in two pieces. And then I seamed it together. The hand knit one is knit in the right. You knit the front and back flat separately and then join in the round when you get to the body. This one is knit entirely flat in two pieces and then seamed. And then I picked up and hand knit all of the ribbing. So the collar ribbing, you can see, sleeve ribbings. And then for the hem, I also just picked up and did 2x2 rib. But this one, as you can see, is just a normal ribbed hem, whereas the hand knitting pattern version has a split hem and you knit the back a little bit longer than the front. But that's entirely optional, and that's like very easy to just not do that part and just to do it in the round like a normal hem. So I really like this one. Oh, it's knit in, I should say the yarn. The yarn it's discontinued, and I got it at a thrift store. I got it at Make and Mend in Somerville. I want to say it's Nashua Hand Knits Isabella. Nashua Hand Knits Isabella in the color 1279 Andalusite. So this is a discontinued, it's technically an Aran weight yarn, but I found it worked okay for my DK pattern. So it's 60% wool, 30% silk, 10% rayon / viscose. So it's Aran weight, but it really doesn't feel like it's an Aran weight. Like it really does feel quite light actually. And so when I'm wearing it, I like it for summer because it's quite lightweight. It's quite easy to wear, and I can wear this next to skin. Like, so I normally when I'm wearing my vests, I will wear them over a t-shirt, over a long sleeve tee, over a button down. Well, I don't really wear them over button downs much anymore, but this one I tend to just wear just over a bra or over like a cami top or something. So this is the whole top. And I really like it, except I think on the machine, so because when you're knitting on the machine, it's hard, you can't like try it on as you go. So it's kind of hard to see what's happening with your pattern in terms of the measurements, because it's hanging on the machine. You can't like block it mid-project and see what it's gonna behave like after blocking. You kind of just have to go with it and then see what it's like when you're finished knitting it. And so I knit the whole thing. I seamed it all up, seamed the shoulders, picked up all of the hems and everything. And I did the pickup. So like the pickup ratio is like correct for this garment. Like if I'm just like holding it flat, it does like, there's no bunching, there's no puckering, it's not like flaring out. Like, so it looks like it's like the correct size, I guess. But I have found that I think the armhole is too big. I think it's too tall. And because of that, then the ribbing kind of flops around a little bit. So what I think I'm going to do, and I might be able to do this without undoing the collar. I'm going to take off the ribbing on the arms on both sides. I'm going to unpick this seam here at the top of the shoulder. So like right along here, which I actually think, yeah, I think this is grafted together. That's not a real seam. Yeah, you can see it's just sort of grafted. I don't know if you can see actually. It's just grafted together. So I'm going to undo that. I might be able to do it without completely unpicking the collar and just kind of like fudging it a bit here. And I think what I'm going to try to do, I have no idea if this is going to work or not. That might not work at all, actually. Because what I don't want to do, so I really like how it fits. And I don't want to bring the V-neck up too high, but I want to take rows out of the back, if that makes sense. So it's tricky because I want to take rows out of the back without taking too many rows out of the front. But if I take rows out of the back, I'll have to do more shoulder shaping in order to keep the front where I want it. So maybe I will take out, maybe I'll take out the collar. I'll undo the collar. And I might just undo the back for a couple of rows and then maybe kind of have the shoulder seam then sit forward a little bit, like more to the front. I think that's what I'm going to try to do. I really don't have like, it's really probably only like 3 or 4 rows that need to go. so it's really not too bad. And I do actually still wear this. It's just, it just feels like it's flopping around like at the back of my arm kind of, and I just don't like that. So I think I can fix it a little bit. And then I also think, yeah, if I take out a couple rows at the back and then reknit the ribbing with slightly fewer stitches. So I guess, well, it's a 2x2 rib. So I guess I would have to do it with 4 less stitches. Although I could always like double up on something on the underarm and you wouldn't really see it. But in order to keep it a true 2x2 rib, I would do 4 fewer stitches on the ribbing, which would take out probably, that's probably about an inch. Actually, I have my little measurement. This is my fun little, I don't know if you can see. It's clear acrylic, so maybe you can't see, but it's a little 1-inch ruler stitch marker. So, and I got this from Happy Creative Studios. My friend Tracy, she gave this to me. I think I don't know if she has them on her website yet, but she was talking about putting them up for sale on her website soon. So go check if she has. These are really handy, especially for like hems and stuff where you just want an inch or two. So yeah, it'd be just under an inch smaller with 4 fewer stitches. So that's my plan for that. I think it'll work. I think I can make it work. And then yeah, and I'll just reknit the hems and the collar. And because it is, I actually think, you know what? I think I did. Actually, it's in my project notes. I should read my project notes. Because I think I went up a needle size on the hand knitting portion. Okay, so I used a 5mm needle for the V-neck and the bottom hem, which that looks like a pretty decent match to the machine knit gauge. And then I did use a 4.5mm on the arms, on the arm ribbing. So that's interesting. I don't know why I did that. Maybe because I knew it was going to be too big and I wanted to keep it as small as possible without altering the pickup. Interesting. I don't know why I did that. But I think I knit a size down from my normal size because of the gauge of the yarn is slightly, it's slightly thicker. So yeah, but because it's yeah, 5mm needles, 4.5mm needles, there's really not too many stitches in here. Aran weight yarn. It should, I think, go by pretty fast. And hopefully I will have this to wear for festival season as well. And also just for the rest of the kind of summer and early fall. So this I actually might start. I had already started on my Plies and Hellhounds Simply the Best, but I might start on this one too and kind of work on them simultaneously. And I have plenty of yarn. Oh, I had the ball band the whole time. I could have just told you that. I have plenty of yarn left for all that because I'm actually going to be making it smaller, so I shouldn't actually need much. But yeah, there's the ball band. Okay, so that's my 2 vests. My last one is something that I'm not even really sure that I am going to reknit. I'm going to frog it because I don't really like it. But I don't know how much I want this. I don't know if I wanted enough to reknit the whole thing. Bring it down again because you keep going up. So I'll show you what I'm talking about, and then we can talk about it. I'm just having some tea with my Golden Earth Designs mug. This is my black sheep. I rarely drink out of this mug. I have 2 Golden Earth mugs. I have the Stockinette Knit Heart, which is actually, if you've been watching my channel, you've probably seen that one because that's the one I drink out of. But because it's evening and I'm having a little bit of a lighter tea, this isn't my normal black tea. This is an oolong. Using a different mug. Does anybody else do that? I have different mugs for different types of drinks. I'm like, this one's my black tea mug. This one's my herbal tea mug. This one's my hot chocolate mug. Is that weird, or are other people doing that? Or is it just me being a little weird? I don't really care. I'm gonna keep doing it. And I might actually, well, I probably shouldn't, but I might buy another Golden Earth mug next time I see her. I think she's gonna be at Boston Fiber Festival and maybe Vermont Sheep and Wool. And I think a Woolen Affair, one of the Rhinebeck events. So I'll be at all of those too. So plenty of opportunities to buy more mugs. Okay, let me show you my last Frog It or Fix It. Frog It or Fix It is fun. That's a fun thing to say. I have more projects that I could probably do this with. Okay, so this is kind of a fun one. I started making a pullover. This is a raglan, a very, very shallow V-neck. So I don't even know if you can see. So not a very deep V, and then just little. So here's the story with this one. I was at Connecticut Sheep and Wool a couple years ago, and while we were there, we stopped in to Knit New Haven. Is that the name of the shop? The shop in New Haven. I'll link it below. And they had, I think, 3 skeins of this Barocco Dash, which is a 92% wool, 8% nylon, super bulky yarn. But it is, is it a chainette? I guess it's technically a chainette. It's this sort of interesting construction. So I don't know if you can see. It's kind of got this sort of chainette structure. It's hard to see because it's also just kind of fluffy, but it's like super stretchy and springy, which is kind of cool. Which makes me think it is a chainette. So it's called a super bulky, and I'm knitting it on size, these are huge, 10 millimeter needles, to get like a fairly normal fabric. So it is bulky, but it is 230 yards per 100 grams because it's so lightweight, because of the construction. It might be a blown yarn, actually. No, I don't think it is. I think it's chainette. Anyway, I got 3 skeins of it. I started knitting a thing. 3 skeins wasn't enough. I went online. I bought another skein from some shop online that had it in stock. It was the same dye lot, so I was like, great. I was planning on making this V-neck, and I was just going to do a pickup I-cord around the collar. This is just a raglan. It's just a top-down raglan. I was going to do an I-cord around the collar. I did little I-cords on the sleeves, and then I was just going to do a little I-cord on the hem. The way the sleeves are now, they're way too short. The hem was going to be too cropped, which is why I got the 4th skein. And then the collar was also looking weird. The collar was too shallow. I just wasn't liking it. And so the other thing about this yarn, of course, as you can see, the dash part of it is that it's primarily this like cream colored yarn, but then there's just long sections. I wonder if I have one here. No, I do not. So like it's all white, it's all white, it's all white. And then you get just like a long section, maybe it's about half my wingspan, or it's like about an arm's length of another color. So this one's brown. There's some like gold, yellowy gold. There's some dark greens. There's some purples. So it's very fun. But I also found, wow, because I was knitting a raglan. What are you doing? She's making the weirdest little face. Because it's a raglan, the color pooling changes as you're doing the yoke, like the sort of pattern changes. So like if we look at the back, if you look at the body, like below the arms, it's all pretty consistent. Like, oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Like it looks random, but it also looks kind of like even, like it looks kind of like it's meant to. But when you come back up to where the increases are happening, you can see it gets like, changes a lot here. And then it's even worse on the front on this sleeve where we've got this like weird chunk of like colors right on top of each other instead of being separated like they are everywhere else. So I didn't love that. And it happens like a very tiny bit, I guess, on the sleeves because I did taper the sleeves, but like not enough for it to be really noticeable. So yeah, I wasn't liking the way the pattern was working out. I wasn't liking the size of it. I wasn't like the shape of it. I didn't like the fit of it. I didn't like it. It's also a super bulky. And I don't know that I want a super bulky pullover right now. It is very lightweight, but it's not, it just feels heavier, I think, when I'm wearing it than like an unspun would or something like that. So, Ghost is coming to join. You can't eat that. So my thought was to rip this out and do a cardigan instead and just do like a super simple drop shoulder. And I actually think I would probably knit it in pieces. So like I would, or maybe not, maybe I would knit it in the round. I guess that'd be okay. Well, I don't know. The change might, well, either way, knit a super basic drop shoulder. So like, yeah, I would probably knit it in pieces. So I would knit the back as one, big rectangle. Knit the fronts. I would probably do a V-neck cardigan. But that kind of increasing I think would be minimal. And so I think it wouldn't change the color too much, especially if I'm just knitting like 2 strips for the fronts. And then the sleeves could be basically the same. And then I would pick up and do a button band. I think that would work much better for the striping pattern. Can you please put your claws away? I actually injured myself yesterday by sticking my hand into a cardboard box unannounced, and someone popped her little claw out, dug it right into my finger, like right into the pad of my right index finger, which is, of course, the finger I use to push my knitting. So I can't like knit normally right now. I've been using my middle finger to like push my knitting down. Anyway, it's time for a manicure for this little baby. Do you want to just sit right there and be on camera? You can do that. Can you guys see her? So weird. Anyway, so I'm thinking I could do that, and I think I would get more wear out of it as a cardigan because then it's like really easy to take off and put on. And I wouldn't be as worried about like having a super bulky sweater on if it's a cardigan. And I think the drop shoulder would just help with the stripe pattern a lot. However, the reason I'm like debating whether to do this or not, like I don't even know if I want to do this, is because Barocco was bought by private equity. And I just, as a rule, don't support private equity. I stopped buying Knit Picks yarn. I stopped buying, I think Wool and the Gang is private equity, although I stopped buying them for a different reason. But there's just a lot of private equity owned, and Webs even is now private equity, which is so sad. So there's a lot of yarn shops and yarn brands that are being bought by private equity. And basically what happens when a company is bought by private equity, especially in like a niche like ours, they just like totally ruin the company. They lay off all the employees, the product quality goes way down, and then they file for bankruptcy or whatever. Like they just completely run the company into the ground. So I don't love that. And I do think that private equity is like actually a huge threat to our industry, like a very like immediate threat, like not like this is going to ruin things in the future. Like it's going to ruin things like in the next couple of years. So I don't want to support private equity. I don't want to support private equity, but the yarn is already discontinued and I already bought it. Like I can't go unbuy it. This was like years ago. I don't even remember, 2022 maybe? 22, 23? I don't even remember. But she's just a baby. Oh. She's just being such a, yeah, look out the window. That's fun. So I don't really know what to do. I do think I would like this. I think it'd be fun. And like, it's a little out of my comfort zone. Like it's a very like fun kind of pattern, right? But I wouldn't really probably write a pattern for it because the yarn is discontinued and I wouldn't support the yarn company anyway. So I just don't know. I don't know what to do. This is part 1 of this video. I'm going to publish this. Whoop, Jesus Christ. Um, this will be published before I actually probably finish all of these projects, or even get started on this one. I think I might frog this, but I really don't have time to knit this actually in the next couple months. This would be like a winter project, maybe like January kind of project. So you guys tell me in the comments what you would do. I don't want to support private equity, but I think I could. Oh, she's chewing on power cords. Oh my God, she's so dumb. Yeah, I don't want to support private equity. I probably won't write a pattern for it. I could probably write a pattern using a different yarn because it will be a very simple, straightforward pattern. Stop that. So I could write a pattern with a different yarn and then still knit this one as like another sample. I wouldn't really be promoting the yarn because it is discontinued. I think it's discontinued. Let me double check that actually. Okay, the yarn might not be discontinued. That might change things for me. Why did I think it was discontinued? So it says on Ravelry that it's discontinued, but then it's still on the Barocco website. And it doesn't say on the Barocco website that it's discontinued. And like, I get keeping a yarn on your website, like for people to check all the stats and whatnot and all the specs and whatnot. But I feel like you would say on your website that it's discontinued. I wonder if you can still like get it. I'm gonna have to double check that. I'm gonna reach out to some people and find out if this is actually discontinued or not, because that might change my mind a little bit. Because on the one hand, I do already own the yarn and I want to use the yarn that I have, but I don't want to promote a yarn that is owned by private equity. And I do think, I mean, I can always just have the disclaimer, this is private equity and I don't support that anymore, but well, I've never supported it, but I don't support this company anymore. But yeah, I don't know what to do there. I also wonder if anybody knows of a similar yarn to this. Let me know, because that would be cool. If I could recommend a different yarn that has these kinds of color dashes. Here's Ghost again. But yeah, tell me what you think in the comments. What should I do? What should I do? I think I would like this sweater, but also I think I would not be too upset if I just ripped this out, recaked the yarn, and like destashed it, because I'm sure somebody else would really love it. It is a nice yarn. It's nice to work with. It is also 8% nylon, and I do like, nowadays I don't buy things that have like any nylon. I think I did recently buy something that had like maybe 4% nylon, but yeah, I really try not to buy things with any amount of nylon in them anymore, but I just don't know. It's very hard to be like 100% ethical. You can't be 100% ethical as a consumer. So I do think we all just have to like try our best in whatever ways we can. But I also know that like for me, first of all, I'm not wanting for yarn, right? I have loads of yarn. We're gonna put her in my lap so she stops freaking out. Okay. I have loads of yarn. I have access to loads of yarn as a designer. I do like often get free yarn. Can you guys see her? She's so silly. So I am in a position that I can just like get rid of yarn that I no longer agree with. I know other people are not necessarily in that position, and it's like, you've already bought it, you got to use it. But I am not in that position. And also I personally just, I like I don't like wearing things if I don't like the company, you know, like, is that, I had this issue in the past with a couple of yarns that I was like designing stuff with, and then the company, you know, was bought by private equity or like did something bad or like did a collab with, was it Zara? Was it We Are Knitters did like a collab with like Zara or something, which was so weird. And like, yeah. So whenever that's happened in the past, I've always been like, it just kind of ruins the yarn for me. And then it ruins the project. And then I'm like, I would rather just like sell this on to somebody who doesn't know. And that's what I did. I had some samples that were knit with yarns that I like no longer supported. And I either gave them away as gifts to people who didn't know don't know about the yarn industry, don't care. Or I sold them like very cheap. I think I sold one sweater for like $50 or something, just because I was like, I just want to get rid of this. I just want somebody to use it because it is a good sweater. But I was like, I just don't want it in my closet. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to wear it. So yeah, I'm worried. I think my thing with this Dash sweater is if the yarn is truly discontinued, I would feel much better about using it. If the yarn's not discontinued, then I don't think I'll be able to use it because I would feel like I'm promoting it. Even with the disclaimer, even if I'm like, I don't support this yarn, it's like, okay, well, but by using it, I like kind of am supporting it and people will be prompted to buy it if they like my project and they want to make their own. So if it's not discontinued, I think I will just unravel it, cake it back up, and destash the yarn so that somebody else can use it. But if it, oh, good Lord. Oh God, she's gonna really, how are you don't even have any teeth. How are you holding on to it so strongly? Okay. But yeah, if it is discontinued, I think I might feel better about using it. So that might be my deciding factor, but I do want to hear what you guys think. I want to hear your thoughts on that, and let me know what you think I should do. Yeah, so I'm gonna go. There will be a part 2 of this video once I finish my projects, or at least decide what to do. I probably won't finish the Barocco one, but yeah, I am really sad about Barocco, actually. I really enjoyed working with them. They were cool, and I like their yarns. And I know some people who work there still, and they're good people, but I just think any company bought by private equity within like a decade is gonna go downhill. So yeah, I'm sad about that. I'm sad about KnitPicks. KnitPicks was a good resource. I used to be an affiliate for them. I actually think I technically am still like on their affiliate list. I just don't use their links anymore. I don't promote them anymore. Which that one really hurts because I have a ton of patterns that use KnitPicks yarns. So that one's tricky, but what can you do? It's the way of the world. Okay, update on the Barocco Dash, this yarn. It is discontinued. I talked to a yarn shop owner friend who knows a rep at Barocco, and they said that this yarn is actually discontinued. So I do feel much better about using it because I wouldn't actually be like promoting a yarn that is still available for sale. So I think, well, I'll still see how I feel, but I think I'm leaning towards ripping out this this jumper and reknitting it into a cardigan because I think it'll be cute. So that's the update on that. Another update. So I originally started this video with 3 projects, and then I remembered that I actually have a 4th that I want to work on. Oh, we're joined by Ghost. Say hi. Oh, or not. So this is a sweater that I made a few years ago. I don't know if you can see it. It is a circular yoke pullover, and it is kind of got this sort of textured patterns here at the yoke, various different sort of Gainsey style. I was sort of copying off of a Gainsey sweater for the motifs, but then it's a circular yoke. And I self-drafted this, and I was trying to make it for my first Rhinebeck, which was 2023, I believe. I went to Rhinebeck with a couple of friends. It was a very last minute thing. Like they just had an extra room in their in the accommodation they were staying in, and they were like, do you want to tag along? So I real quick tried to knit a sweater. I did the math wrong initially when I was doing my circular yoke. And so I had to like rip it back and reknit it. And then even then I still, well, I ran into that problem that you run into a lot with circular yokes where it ends up being kind of like a swancho, even if you didn't intend for it to be a swancho, where like the armholes are too deep. And then if you like lift your arm, the whole sweater, like you're basically like your bra is on show because the whole thing is lifting up. So that was the problem I was running into this one. Yeah, it's just not, the shape is just not my favorite. But I really love the yarn. The yarn is, and I have a whole extra skein actually. I have a couple of bits and bobs. The yarn is Brooklyn Tweed Shelter. And if you're familiar, you know that Brooklyn Tweed is discontinued. They've stopped producing yarn. So all Brooklyn Tweed yarn is discontinued, which is very sad because they made amazing yarn. Shelter is their worsted weight woolen spun. So it's an American Targhee Columbia wool, 100% American wool. The wool is sourced in Johnson County, Wyoming, spun in Harrisville, New Hampshire, dyed in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And this is, yeah, worsted weight, woolen spun, 2-ply. It's very, what I love about the Brooklyn Tweed woolen spun yarns is that they're so lightweight, but so warm because of their woolen spun construction. And then they're also so soft. The Targhee, I think, in the blend just really makes it soft. I think this is, yeah, this says it's a 23 to 24 micron wool, which is pretty small, very soft. A lot of like even merinos that I see are like right around that range, maybe 22. So this is like basically almost as soft as merino. And for me personally, I don't know, I prefer this sometimes to merino. It just feels really good next to skin. And it's also just like really warm, but also really like lofty and lightweight. So it's like kind of a perfect yarn. And this is the worsted weight, but Brooklyn Tweed also had a sort of bulky weight, which was their quarry, and then a fingering weight, which was the loft. Just all brilliant yarns. I do have some quarry actually still in stash that I am planning to work with, but this is the color Meteorite. If you can see, it's a dark brown, but then it has little flecks of sort of primary colors. There's some like blue and yellow and red in there. So it's just really, really pretty. It's really, really soft, really nice. And I want a sweater that I actually wear. I want a sweater that fits. So I'm gonna rip this out. I think I'm gonna skip the circular yoke. And I am actually going to knit just a super basic, I think, drop shoulder sweater. I'm actually not 100% sure that that's what I'm going to use this yarn for. I think that's what I'm going to use this yarn for. I want to do a super basic drop shoulder crew neck. And I know that that's been done like a million times, but the reason I want to do that is because I am machine knitting basically that sweater with some lucky tweed that I have from Kelbourne. And I'm going to machine knit that version and I'm going to write up a pattern for it. I don't think I'm actually going to write a full proper machine knit pattern. I'm kind of more going to write guidelines for machine knitting because in general, I just don't really offer machine knit patterns because the type of machine I have a KX 350 and it can really only do knitting. It can do a little bit more with hand manipulation, but I can't really do ribbing very easily. So it's just easier if I sort of knit the stockinette parts in panels on the machine and then hand knit the rest of it. So all of my machine patterns are actually technically hybrid machine knit and hand knit. And also because of the way the machine is built, it's just like one long bed. And mine has 130 needles. And so you can't make panels bigger than 130. And so in order to write patterns that are across my normal size range, you would have to basically write like different patterns for bigger sizes because you would have to separate like the back and front into separate panels. And it would just get very complicated very fast in terms of pattern writing. So I think I'm going to more write sort of guidelines for that. But I want to write a pattern for it for hand knitting. So I will be doing my hand knit sample out of this. And I think it's just going to be super basic and cozy and nice, and a good piece to sort of layer with other things, have an accessory that's a pop of color or something like that. So yeah, that's my plan with this. I am a little nervous about ripping it out because one of the things about woolen spun yarn is that, let me see. I have loads of this yarn. I have a couple more partial skeins too. A little similar to unspun. This is not unspun. This has been spun, but it is very minimally spun compared to like a really tightly twisted yarn. So it can sort of break fairly easily, harder than unspun to break, but still much easier to break than like a highly twisted, worsted spun yarn. So I'm gonna have to be a little more gentle, I think, when I'm unraveling it, because a lot of times when I'm unraveling something, I will literally I'll undo the bind off and then hook up that tail of yarn from the bind off into my yarn winder and just go for it and just like wind it into a ball from the sweater. And that can kind of pull on the yarn pretty hard. So I probably won't do that with this. I will probably, and actually what I'll probably want to do, because I will want to work out all the kinks in the yarn too. So I'll actually probably wind this into skeins, back into like skeins rather than cakes, so that I can wash them to relax the kinks out of the yarn, so that it goes back to being kind of a straight a straight yarn. So that's my plan for those. I think this is the end of this video. I will come back to you in some amount of time. Hopefully some of these projects will be finished. Definitely some of these projects will be finished. Maybe not all of them, maybe all of them. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to estimate right now, and you can call me out if I end up being totally wrong on this. I'm going to estimate that the follow-up video to this will actually be coming in like January or February, to be totally honest. if I want to finish all my projects. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and that's it for today. Please like this video if you liked it. Please comment below if you have ever frogged and reused yarn. Yeah, I'd love to hear your stories on that. I do it all the time. I do it a lot, actually, especially as a designer, because you'll try something and it just doesn't work out the way you want it to. So you frog it and you start over. And I think that's okay. I don't think we have to be sad about that. I think it's a good thing. I think it's nice that yarn is so easy to reuse like that. So we can make something we're truly happy with. So yeah, please like, comment, subscribe. You can donate to my Ko-fi if you like. And yeah, stick around for part 2 coming in a couple months. And yeah, thanks for being here. Say goodbye, Ghost. Goodbye, Ghost.